I flew into Mindanao with one goal: find the island's hidden gems. Forget what you think you know, forget the headlines. I'm here for the truth on the ground, the unfiltered story. This isn't just a trip, it's a mission to connect with the raw, beating heart of the Philippines' second largest island. I've got a map, a camera, and a serious lack of a concrete plan, which is always where the best adventures begin. The idea is to find the places that don't make it into the glossy travel brochures, the experiences that stick with you long after you've flown home. Okay, first stop, Davao Crocodile Park. You hear Crocodile Park and you think, tourist trap, cheesy signs, a few sad-looking reptiles in a concrete pit. But this place, this is different. The air is thick, humid, and it smells ancient. The moment I walked in, that stereotype shattered. The sheer size of these animals hits you first. They're not just big, they're prehistoric. They lie there, motionless, like living statues carved from stone. But then an eye blinks. A slow, deliberate movement that sends a shiver right through strike you. Wow. You feel like you've stepped back in time. I found one of the keepers, a guy named Ramon, who's been working with these animals his entire life. He doesn't see them as monsters, he sees them as survivors. He walked me past the enclosures, pointing out the different species, telling me their names, their histories. He explained that this isn't a zoo, it's a conservation project. They're breeding endangered species, educating the public, and trying to change the narrative around these incredible predators. It's a fight against extinction, happening right here in this quiet corner of Davao. Ramon let me watch a feeding. It's a moment of controlled chaos. The water explodes as a croc lunges for the food. The sound of its jaws snapping shut echoes through the park, a raw, powerful sound that commands respect. You realize the immense power coiled up in these seemingly lazy creatures. It's not just about seeing them, it's about feeling their presence. You're not just a spectator, you're a guest in their kingdom, and they are the undisputed kings. He told me about Pongil, the park's largest resident, a saltwater crocodile over 18 feet long. He's a legend. Looking at him, you understand the myths and legends that surround these animals. He's a living dinosaur. Ramon's respect for Pongil was palpable, a deep, profound understanding of the animal's place in the ecosystem. From the kings of the water to the king of the skies. Next stop, the Philippine Eagle Center. This place feels less like a park and more like a sanctuary. Nestled in the forest, the city is replaced by insects and rustling leaves. The mission here is singular and urgent. Save the Haring Ibon from extinction. Fewer than 400 pairs remain in the wild, perched high in a massive enclosure. The word eagle doesn't do it justice. This bird is a giant. Its wingspan can reach 7 feet. Its gaze is piercing. Intelligent. Impossibly fierce. A crown of feathers on its head, like royalty. I met a biologist in the breeding program. Her passion was infectious. These eagles are monogamous. They lay only one egg every 2 years. The survival of a single chick is a monumental victory. All right, enough quiet reverence. Time for some adrenaline. We're in South Cotabato, at Lake Cebu, home to what they call the highest zip line in Southeast Asia. The setup is simple: a metal platform, a harness, a whole lot of open air. Down below, a chain of 7 waterfalls cuts through the jungle. It sounds simple, but standing on that platform, this is not a good idea. The operator gives you a thumbs up. Your pounding heart isn't so sure. And then, you're gone. Your stomach leaps. Then you stabilize. You're not falling. You're flying. Chapter 4. After the high-speed rush of the zipline, I wanted a different perspective on the forest. I'd heard about a place simply called the Flyover Forest. It's a stretch of road that winds through the mountains, lifting you up and over the canopy. It reveals the sheer, uninterrupted scale of Mindanao's wilderness. Driving along this road is like sailing on a green ocean. I pulled over at a viewpoint, shut off the engine, and just listened. The silence was immense, broken only by the sound of the wind moving through the leaves and the distant calls of birds. No signs of civilization, just endless ridges and valleys, all covered in a primordial blanket of green. This forest is the lungs of the island. From here you see how vital, and fragile, it is. A visual argument for conservation. Every ridge tells a story. You can see landslide scars where new life is beginning to grow. It connects you to the overwhelming power of nature. A reminder, we are small parts of a much larger system. Chapter 5. Adventure and nature are incredible, but they're only half the story. The real soul of a place is its people. I traveled deep into the highlands of South Cotabato to meet the Taboli people. This is their ancestral land, deeply spiritually connected. I wasn't here as a tourist. I was here to listen. I sat down with a family sharing coffee. An elder, her face etched with the lines of 100 stories, began to talk. She spoke through a translator. Her eyes said more than words. Her hand said more than words. Her presence said more than words. She talked about their connection to the land. Every mountain has a spirit. Every river has a spirit. She spoke of traditions passed down for generations. The stories, the music, the intricate art of Tanalak weaving. Close patterns, not designed, they come in dreams. Threads dyed with pigments from the forest. They are fighting to keep traditions alive, teaching children. This human connection was the true hidden gem of my journey so far. Chapter 6. From the quiet mountains to the chaotic coast. We are in General Santos City, the tuna capital of the Philippines, and to understand this city, you have to go to the source, the fish port. I got here before sunrise, and the place was already a whirlwind of activity. The air is thick with the smell of the ocean, of salt, and of fish. It's not a tourist spot. This is a place of work, an engine that drives the region's economy. Dozens of boats, big and small, are docked, their hulls low in the water, heavy with their catch. The main event is the unloading of the tuna. These are giants, massive yellowfin tuna, some weighing hundreds of pounds. Buyers weave through the rows, their flashlights cutting through the dim morning light. Men with clipboards shout numbers, and deals are made. The tuna are weighed, then quickly carted away, destined for processing plants and markets around the world. His story is the story of this port. Hard work, resilience, and a deep connection to the sea. This place is the heartbeat of General Santos. Chapter 7. After the chaos of the fish port, I was ready for something different. So I headed inland to the Dole pineapple plantation, one of the largest in the world. When I say large, I mean it. Neat, endless rows to the horizon, a staggering geometric landscape of spiky green leaves and golden fruit. I joined a tour to see how this massive operation works. It's a surprisingly long process, over a year for a single fruit to mature. The plantation employs thousands. They are the engine of this place. Inside, conveyor belts peeled, cored, sliced pineapples at incredible speed. At the end, they give you a slice. It's, without a doubt, the best pineapple you will ever taste. One bite, and you taste the story. The vast fields, the hard work of the people, the power of the sun. Chapter 8. After all the action, the people, the industry, I needed one last thing. I needed a moment of quiet. I needed to just be in nature, to let the rhythm of Mindanao sink in. There was no destination. The journey was the point. The goal was simply to walk, to listen, and to breathe. I found a small clearing by a stream and sat down on a rock. This quiet, persistent rhythm of life. This is the real hidden gem. It's a feeling, the peace that comes from immersing yourself in nature, from disconnecting and reconnecting with something more fundamental. Outro. So, that was it. 10 minutes across Mindanao. We saw it all. The prehistoric power of the crocodiles, the soaring majesty of the eagles, the adrenaline of the Lake Cebu zipline. We drove over a literal ocean of trees. We sat with the Taboli people and felt the warmth of their ancient culture. We dived into the beautiful chaos of the Gensan fish port. We walked the endless golden fields of the Dole plantation, and found a moment of perfect peace on a trail to nowhere. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments. Which one of these spots would you visit first? Thanks for coming along for the ride. Now, go do something. Go create your own story.